And it's the next day after that drunken ramble. It was literally a drunken ramble from the pub. Yep, thank you, Kate. I'm currently on the path to, well, it's a path the right way to Worth from Woody Sides campsite. Reason that I'm not going for Kingston is I had to wait an extra half an hour. I might regret this, but I just couldn't stay in Swanage a second longer. I literally have a terrible luck with buses today. Whereas, I just missed the 35 and had to wait 28 minutes, and then I just missed the 40, so I had to wait an hour for another one. So I was like, screw that. I don't want to wait another hour here. Only reason I was in Swanage, because you know how much I love Swanage, was the old problem sunburn. I really should have brought some after sun. I brought sunblock and my extra creams. Thinking extra cream double as not completely, it does help. I think it's helped it not develop into an eczema problem at the moment, but I bought some after sun. Malibu, shit. They all seem to have come with alcohol, denatured alcohol, which is a posh way of saying meths. They all have meths in. Don't start drinking your after sun, but yeah. So I went to Boots in Swanage and found a aloe gel, because aloe gel is great. There was one that's even better, which was witch cream, which did an after sun, which was witch hazel and maybe some aloe as well. That literally was almost like a miracle cure for sunburn. It was like it was gone in 2 days. It was amazing stuff. But of course then Witch decided to do all their upscale, and then seemed to disappear entirely, so good for them. So I got some Ponzi aloe gel as well that didn't have any alcohol in, just in case the other stuff. So I've got 3 bottles of After Sun now. It's amazing how this backfires. Like, I won't bear that extra weight, and then it's like you end up with 3 of them. Yes. But I'm walking back to Chapman's Pool to do that bit from Chapman's Pool to Kimmeridge. I hope I'll do it today. I mean, they're not too bad because they've got exit points at Kingston, not at Kingston, and Worth. So you've got a way out. Whereas the bit I was doing before, hence the 20. I did work it out. It was 21 miles, 21.7 miles, and probably longer than that if I don't have a step counter or any of that shenanigans. I'd be very careful what I say. I know people who use step counters, but I'm not really that interested. I'm more interested in sort of getting places. But I did a lot of walking around Tyneham as well, so if I was measuring a step count, it'd be way more than that, way more than 21.7 miles. So I'm amazed how well my legs and feet have held up. I think I've understood now that whenever I do something like that, you have to have at least 1 or 2 off days where you're not doing very much, recovery days. Today wasn't supposed to be a recovery day. It was supposed to be what I'm doing now, but as the sunburn meant that I was like, I have to go and go to Swanage. Is that a Wareham? But it's not a massive choice between the two, apart from the Sainsbury's and Wareham. But yeah, I looked, and yes, I did look at the buses the other way, and it was like 16 minutes versus 28 minutes. I was like, well, there's not much in this. I didn't really want to be further away from the place I wanted to be, because it's the opposite direction. So hence I got off the 30 bus, packed 30 bus. Oh, and I had a queue jump Karen as well. There was this woman who did the international sign of "I'm with this person." They point back to themselves and the other person, and moved in. And it turns out the person was waiting for the number, the 40, the one I wasn't going to get. And it turned out they weren't anything to do with that person at all. So they just stepped in front of me, and there was quite a big queue. It was a queue for about 40-50 people. I was trying to tossing up my head, saying how many spaces. I was thinking usually about 70 on a double decker. So I was like, oh, okay. And then she tried to pay with a £20 note. She managed it, but I made the bus driver laugh. I said, well, she queue jumped as well. I was singing under my breath, there's a queue jump, Karen, there's a queue jump, Karen, there's a queue jump, Karen, she's in front of me. That kind of thing. Just enough for her to hear and no one else. Yes, don't cross me when it comes to queues. I get very, very, very not toxic. It's just my justice sensitivity kicking in. Because it's like, really? I mean, if people ask, then I'll think about it. The answer's usually no, but if there's a good reason. Although weirdly, someone did a psychology experiment and found the best reason was because I want to, or because I can, which is I've found strange, because I would be like, no. I have done so. If someone's got a dying relative or a injured child or something, I'm like, wait like the rest of us. But yes, so I might regret the extra mile of walking, but my legs are pretty good today. I have to say, this path to Worth, it's a bridle path, but it's through a forest, through all of bitey flies. I managed to kill one, and it was definitely biting me because it was like red when it actually squished it, and I was like, that's been biting me. But it looks like one of those places where it's so totally becomes a river or a stream bed in winter. It looks like that. That this is not a stream in winter and spring. This is not a path, it's a stream. So it feels like, and it's got all this kind of ferns, and so it's obviously quite damp. So anyway, that's today. One of the things I want to check out is the Clavel Tower. The Clavel Tower was the thing I saw in the distance and talked about the lights being on in a previous podcast, and said I'd seen it from Knoll Hill. I actually bothered to look up what it's called. It's called the Clavel Tower. It is quite a famous folly, I think. It's a folly or a pretend lighthouse, I can't remember which one it was, but I think it's a folly. And I've heard a lot about that. When I've seen pictures, like, that looks so familiar, but I was thinking there's an old lighthouse tower, which is is it Weymouth? Either Weymouth or Lulworth, but it's one along that route. Might even be further up the coast. But yes, so I'll check that out. And there are a few rivers en route if I have to filter any water, but I've got a fair amount of water. And looks like there are places to refill. I know about the pub in Kingston, so that's got arms around a meal. So, but it's so funny. I looked at the Refill Logic, or the Refill app, to promote refilling, and they said there's a water fountain here. I was like going, I've been there. There's no water fountain. There's a old disused fountain that's not working, but it's not even where they indicated it. It's like in the churchyard, and I was like going, no, it's not a water fountain. There's not a water fountain in the churchyard unless you're going in and stealing water from the font. There's nothing there. Yes, I probably not recommended to go and steal and drink water that babies have been dunked into. Doubt that's very hygienic. But so, yeah, but I know about that, and I know about the square and compass in Worth. The signs to say Worth, they dropped the Maltravers stuff, so the signs are a bit more casual, a bit more cash. So I'll check in later. I'm hoping to do some artwork as traditional and carry my shopping across the cliffs. Yeah, this is something I do. I'm like, I don't want to go all the way back, because by the time you go from like Swanage or the local town, which is always a while away, there's always a faff to get back from, and you drop stuff off. It's like late afternoon. So, as is usual, not as bad as last year, where I took a whole massive shot 7 miles. That was in Seaton, not Seatown, but that was in Seaton. Yeah, that was silly. Like, I'll walk across the road. No, I'll look on the cliffs with all my shopping in my rucksack. And there was a lot of shopping. But luckily, most of this is just damn gates. I wish they'd. I meant to mention this before. Oh, gate SAMSR. I wish they'd invent a standardised way for gates. Anybody who walks will agree with me on this. You come to a gate and there's about 10 or 20 different ways of opening the gate. People who walk won't realise this. It's just like lifty, pulley, pull to the side, lift away, bits of twine, bits, a chain around it. And the ones that tend to be the standard, which is the lifty, the ones that you lift up and pull, or push. But there's no standardised way, and it gets rather infuriating, because you're like, it's a bit like the Krypton factor every time you come to a new gate, and it's like, I don't want to have to think about how to open the gate. I just want to open the gate. And sometimes it's ad hoc things from the farmer. Quite often it's designed like that, and as I say, can we just pick one that's pulley or pushy? Oh, ouch! I hope that's not a nettle. Probably. Yeah. Pushy or pulley or lifty or whatever, or a piece of string round the post, or a chain round the post, whichever one it is. But yeah, I think I stop and counted them, at least 10 different ways, and I suspect a lot less. And you can tell this might be used as a bridle way, possibly by horses. It's not walked by many people, because the place is full of nettles. And guess who's wearing shorts? So anyway, I'm trying to do short podcasts and failing, so I better go. Speak to you soon. One of the problems in this area is a lot of either the maps are wrong or the paths, I think, have been destroyed. So I had this with the MOD rangers, and I was like, well, that might be just paths that were there before, because Osmond, a bit like Wikipedia, is originally based off digitising very old maps, and so unless people don't update it, or you can't guarantee. It's not like an open ordnance survey map where you can point it and say, this is a right of way. Problem is, the ordnance survey app is expensive and not actually that useful. So, and I'm not going to carry paper maps. But yeah, because we're in the age of the GPS. But I had just one just back there where we had a ghost path, a path that I think was there because I could see the hedge and the fencing where it would have gone down. But lovely butterfly. It was just marked on the map, and it was the same thing happened when I got off the bus. There was another path that was marked and that was completely eradicated. I don't know. I was like, can't be a boundary marker, because sometimes those little dotted lines can be boundaries because it's got styles on it, allegedly. And I don't know whether the campsite killed that one, I'm not sure, or someone else. I'm not sure about that one. But the one just now, definitely, I could see there was a hedge and at exactly the point where there would have been the path. So that suggests to me that the path has just got overgrown and abandoned or been taken out. So I had to walk across a B road for about 5-10 minutes, which this whole area is quarries. I can actually see in the distance the clanging you could hear, and probably hear in the background the last bit was the quarry next to California Farm. And I don't know, I don't think I was podcasting when I did the California Farm trip, but part of the big reason why I am not at all a big fan of Swanage is my experience at California Farm, where this horrible woman runs this deceptive campsite right next to a working quarry. Doesn't mention that it's next to a quarry in any of the stuff online, and then she gave me shit for not checking in, but then it was not obvious where to check in, and I was getting back very late, so I didn't see her. And she was asking all the other people there, including a few people who stayed. Most people just kind of stayed one night and went because it was so horrible. And the facilities were, the toilet block, I hesitate to call it that. It was something, and it was pretty horrible. Cold water and kind of like insect infested toilets, and sort of hadn't been cleaned. It was like this shack in the woods, and it was pretty horrible. So it was that, and so just to be reminded of that, seeing I think it must be that quarry in the distance, it's just like, oh dear, I remember that noise when I stayed there. And I just got the hell out of there after a few days. But the only reason why I was there is because it was bank holiday weekend, and the bank holiday was just booked up everywhere. The entire of Swanage was booked up. I think I might have even looked at Corf, and they were booked up. Everywhere was booked up. That's why I avoid because it's just I don't want to have to deal with that. I find it fascinating, sort of the tumuli. I'm seeing quite a few of the tumuli. So it could just be mounds, but in the middle of a field, it suggests it's probably a tumuli, which suggests that some of these roads walking on might be ancient trackways, but who knows. The few that survive probably are, because it seems like a lot of the paths have been destroyed, possibly by quarries. It could have been the quarry that killed that, possibly. I didn't go down, there's a little road, and I could have rejoined. I will join that, and we'll see if there's a path there off on this path. Usually the ones that have coloured markings in Osmond are fairly legit, maybe meaning they're a bridleway or some kind of official pathy, whereas there's just dotted lines. Those can be very highly suspect. And of course the problem is that Google, for all their billions, can't be bothered to do a decent map that involves footpaths. It's something they could have to be bothered, and as I say, I don't really fancy paying Ordnance Survey, which is basically a military map for military purposes. That's what it is. It was originally. It's the name. I don't want to pay them more money or any money. At least they have a free option. But not only does it really require on data access, which I've been walking in and out of places where, some places are surprisingly, Irish Mail had 4G connection. Some places it's completely dead spots, and you can't depend on that. You have to be able to download something like Osmand. You can download the data, or some kind of thing on your phone itself. There is actually a good American one, but I don't think they do here. It's like Nature's Path or something, Nature Hike or Nature. But it's very very detailed, but again, it's US and Canada only, I think. Last time I looked at it was. So yeah, it's an interesting thing with digital mapping and Osmand, because I like the idea of open source mapping, and because a lot of them haven't changed, a lot of things haven't changed, but enough has that you have to be aware, especially with any form of change of use, new buildings, industrial development, or indeed MOD ranges, that what was there in the 20s and 30s has been completely destroyed. Some of the paths on there were actually the ones I walked in Tainham, so they put the paths in on the old paths. It's what you would do. Oh shit. Oh no. Still my belly. This is a thing. It is horrible, quite high up nettles, and then no dock leaves. I think the snails are in consort with the nettles to hide the dock leaves. I was looking around for dock leaves going, nope, no dock leaves, because rubbing a dock leaf onto a nettle sting does help. But we've reached a fork in the road, so I better check out the map and see what is real and what is not. I'll speak to you soon.